It is Q&A time, baby. And just telling you, I want to get you from being this guy with the question marks over your head to become the enlightened entrepreneur, the enlightened Kraken. Everyone can see the slides now? Thumbs up? Yes. All right, perfect. Okay. So again, structure, very simple. I'm going to answer common questions. In the end, you can ask me whatever you want. So now again, let's get it. What do we want? If we want to produce content, if you bought the course, you most likely want two things. You want a rocket ship launching into the Twitter stratosphere or the LinkedIn stratosphere, or maybe you want both. You also want to print some cash. So how do we get there? How do we grow? And how do we actually monetize? And today's session will be about how do we actually get there? And for me, it was very important to really think about the stuff that's not in every course you buy. And I can tell you the fundamentals over and over again, and I will tell you some fundamentals. But I really went into my brain and was like, okay, what is the secret sauce that most people will never teach you that really helped me, and that sometimes goes beyond the very simple writing stuff or AI stuff, and it also includes some of the social aspects. So I sat down and thought about, okay, what are some knowledge bombs I can drop on you guys that help me with my growth and will hopefully also help you. So let's get into it. I will start with these three things. So I will talk about the circle of legends. I will talk about stacking trends, and I will talk about what I call being personal as fuck. So what is the circle of legends? For me, that's something that honestly is one of the biggest cheat codes if you want to grow in social media. Because if you want to grow in social media, you have it in the word, it's social, right? It's like a social dynamic. And most people only think about the social aspects in terms of posting, engaging with other people on the platform. But I think the major social part is about building the network around you that's in the back. So let me just clarify a little bit. What I recommend everyone do, and what I did for most of my journey, is try to find at least another person. Best case, find 3 to 4 people that are also just starting out, that are maybe just twice as big on Twitter. Maybe they have some followers, they have some experience. Get them into a group, into a Discord server, into a Telegram group, and just commit to a 30-day sprint. So just sit down with them and be like, okay, hey, we want to do a 30-day sprint, and all that we do is we post content every day and we feedback each other's content. So let's say I'm going to throw up a tweet, I'm post them into the group, and what we would do is we record either little videos with Loom or with the phone, as simple as you can do it, and just feedback. Did it grab my attention? Was there anything you could have done better? Is there anything that was unclear? And just feedbacking your content, you just get the 10x or 100x in terms of learning speed to become a better creator, because you will actually you don't have to make every single mistake, because you will also see them in others. And I actually saw this in one of the Mr. Beast videos of being having a dedicated group of people to feedback your content is such a hack. You can also do this with ChatGPT in terms of asking it for feedback. But I think the combination of doing that, but also having a group of accountability with real people, is such an undervalued hack. And if you just ask yourself, okay, I don't know anyone, I'm kind of alone right now posting, just go on Twitter and search for small creators, search for a topic, or look for bigger creators and look in the comments. You usually see the same people commenting. And if they have small accounts, you can just do an outreach, hey, I want to find a group of dedicated people. They want to grow together. They want to stay accountable for 30 days. And do you want to join a group? And I've done it the same way, honestly. And I had so little following. It was last year when I started my personal account. And it's super important to be brutally honest about your feedback. So don't sugarcoat anything, because if you ask your friends about your content, or maybe even other creators, most won't be this is shit. I would completely scroll over this. And what helped me most were people that were so honest that it almost hurt a little bit, but in a good way, because they will really help you to get better at producing content. So my first tip is kind of a social one, but very undervalued, and it has huge upside. It is to find a circle of legends and to join a group with them. So first one, we got it. The second one is what I call stacking trends. And the question I always ask myself is, what trend can I leverage to spread my message? And most people, they get it wrong. They have shiny object syndrome, right? So let's say they are a crypto writer and then they see AI and they completely switch their profile. They completely switch everything they do. They already built up some momentum. Maybe it's little, but it's some momentum, some network. Some people know you. They see the new thing, they drop it again, they start again until the next shiny thing comes and they drop it again. And they never reach a certain threshold. So what most people tell you is like either never go for a trend, which I think is complete bullshit and dumb to not do it. And the other ones will be just chase the newest thing. And I think the important middle path is like the golden middle. And that's really what I call stacking trends. It's like you have a core topic. For me, it was solopreneurship, working on my own, working online, making money online as a solopreneur. And I saw a new trend that I was super interested in. It was AI. So I stacked the trends and I used both trends as leverage. So my tip here really is look for trends that are out there. So if you're if you're a designer right now and you're not using AI to get some views on your content, I think you're doing yourself a huge disservice. So just try to find little angles you can use to enhance the message you already have with a certain topic. Because if everyone's looking for AI content or for crypto content or whatever, and you can build a bridge to your message you usually talk about, that's a great way to gain attention, to get some attention. So try to stack trends, try to use different trends to your advantage, because it's like the classic, the tide rises all the boats. And if you have a rising tide, use it, like leverage it. And even if people tell you, oh, it's a new hot thing, don't talk about it, it's so like you're just chasing a trend. If you do it right, and if you still stay true to your core topic, and you just ask yourself, what is an interesting angle for the topic I usually talk about with this new trend? I think that's a great way to get some momentum. So use it and try it. The next one is what I call personal as fuck. And I think the best indicator for this is if you want to post something and you hesitate before posting, if you share a personal story, if you share some kind of fuck up. I had it many, many times. When I had my most viral post on LinkedIn, I actually shared my fuck up on the FTX, and it felt horrible for me because it felt like such a huge failure for me to me. But I just turned the message around and be like, hey, I fucked up. This is what you can learn from it. But it still felt like I portrayed myself as an idiot, and I felt like, fuck, I don't want to share this. But actually, this is a great signal if your head tells you, oh no, this is too much to share, because this is where people connect with you and your message. And most people, they make the mistake of thinking, if I share a failure, I may look weak, I may look dumb, someone will make a fool of me. Maybe I can't get a good job again on LinkedIn if someone saw I've done a stupid mistake. That's like what goes through your head if you like publicly share a fuck up. But I can tell you, I think honestly, sharing my FTX fuck up was one of the best decisions of my life. And actually, I got multiple like hedge funds reach out to me who actually wanted to employ me as a trader because they liked my sharing of my fuck up and being honest about it and being rational about it and learning from it. And that's such a big hack. If you're kind of hesitant sharing your failures, you're making yourself like it's such a big disservice to yourself and your potential, because people, we have to be very aware that people don't like others seeing, they don't like to see you win. They like to see you win after you lost. They like to see the transition. They like to see like the phoenix from the ashes, because that's like the hero journey we connect with. But if you only share, oh my God, I'm the greatest, I made all this money, I have all this success, people will only get jealous. I can tell you, that's what happened. People will just get jealous. But if you're also on the way up, you always say, hey, this is what went wrong. I tried this, totally fucked it up. I tried that, also totally fucked it up. But on the third try, actually, it worked. And now it works even better. People will root for you because you're sharing yourself as an actual human that makes mistakes, that goes through phases. So my third tip here, if you want more engagement, because that was the question actually why I'm talking about this stuff. People ask me, how can I get more engagement? How can I get more response from my audience? So my response to you is being personal and sharing those fuck ups is the way to go. And it's so helpful. And if you think about which creators do you connect with the most, it's usually the ones that shared some kind of transition hardship with you, that were super honest about themselves. So really leverage that. Be personal as fuck if possible. So we've run through the first three now. Again, the circle of legends, get a small group of people. Stacking trends, ask yourself, what is trending? Can I combine these trends? Can I stack them on top of each other? Can I leverage a trend for my content? The third one is to be personal AF. Now let's talk about engagement, because I got so many questions about how should I engage with people? Should I just comment each day for 30 minutes? Should I have an engagement group? And so I'm just giving you some tips that really work for me and I think are kind of more unknown. So if you look at this GIF now, or this GIF, we can argue how it's called. I don't know. I don't always say GIF, but I'm German, so I okay, we're talking about GIFs, about this guy here, right? So let's say you see a post of a big creator, and most people will tell you just comment under big creators, get some traffic, and they will see you. And I actually think that's not the right strategy, because you will only get into a fight of other people trying to be this guy, like this sleazy kind of salesman in the comments, always trying to get attention. And what I think is much better is to become Will Hunting. If you've seen the movie, what I remember of it is he's working at a math department. I think he's like a janitor or something, and he basically learns from what he sees on what's called the boards, like so where the teacher, I don't know, he made some calculation and he reads the books in the libraries, and one day he sees like a equation by the professor and he solves it. So what I want to tell you is, if you want to get the attention of a big creator, use what they teach you, solve a problem, and tell them about it. So instead of just being this reply guy, be the apply guy and apply the shit you learn. So that's why I'm writing here is apply knowledge and let others know. So that in case you follow some of my accounts and I might share like an AI hack. And it's much better to be like, hey, I used this hack to come up with this idea and this were my results, and then tag me. Or you can even send me a DM and be like, hey, I tried this. Those were my results. You can even ask a specific question, because long term, honestly, it's so much better to build quality relationships with some creators and not only be the reply guy, like only replying under 100 accounts each day. Some people do it and they have success with it, but I personally really believe in building like a small circle around you of bigger creators, because I can just speak from my experience. If you do something like this for a bigger creator, or also you buy a product and you give them detailed feedback, it can be a $5 product. You give a detailed feedback, or you just do like hey, I just bought this course. I'm actually going to apply it for 14 days and I'm going to share my progress. For example, you can also do stuff like this. So like really result-based posting really works well for engagement. All right, so I know there's a lot of stalls coming, but fuck it, here's more. It's going to be 3 more tips from my side. And these are more like basic concepts as well. So each time I was sitting kind of staring at a blank page, because it's also a problem some people face. ChatGPT helps a lot with this, but sometimes we can even figure out like what to ask ChatGPT to do. Like, what problem do I want to solve? What question do I want to solve? And a mindset that my friend Kieran Drew like really hammered into my brain, which really works great for myself, is to just think about, how can I help one person win today? Don't think about your whole audience. Think about what were questions that came into your inbox. What was something maybe a friend asked you? What is a little thing where you can help someone take the next step, and just create for that? Don't think about the grand scheme of things. I kind of go small, way smaller than you usually go. And it's the same idea. Like, if you don't know how to do like a 2-hour workout each day, just try to do 1 push-up. and see where it leads you. I think it's kind of the same idea for me, to set a very low bar and to create something that helps one person. It could be the most mundane thing you can help them with, though. That's a concept that personally is very, very helpful to me. I'm going to have to take a sip of water off my wine glass because I talk so much. The next one is about how to borrow authority. And what I mean by that, you can see a tweet I've done here. Especially if you have a smaller account, you always have to think from a reader's perspective if you create content. So if a reader is on their phone, they scroll to Twitter, and they just see someone they've never seen before post about, hey, here's how I've done blah. If the thing you claim you have done is not crazy, it's not like I've done some crazy amount of money or whatever, they're most likely to scroll over you. So a great way to kind of get some attention is borrow authority. And what I mean by that is you can borrow someone's name to get attention. In this example, I used Balaji, who's like a famous investor, famous thinker. And at the time when I posted it, he made this like crazy claim, like Bitcoin's going to go to $1 trillion or whatever. So he was like very hot in the news. So you can just borrow attention from someone else. Because if people are already primed to reading things about Balaji, or they're interested in him right now, you can use his name for a hook, but then you could even tie the thread. So this thread is about books he recommended, but you could even be, hey, he's a good entrepreneur, an investor who changed my life. He has seven books that also that helped me with his journey. So you don't even have to talk about his recommendations. You just use the name or a picture of someone. So someone's like, oh, I know this person, I might read further. That's just a tip. Like, people sometimes overuse it, so be careful with it. Don't do like 2 Steve Jobs threads each day. It's horrible, and people will get pissed off. But to think about it, I think what's really helpful is to think about it. Who is on people's minds anyway right now, and how can I use this to hook someone into my world? So at this point in my life, I was like, okay, everyone's talking about Balaji. My account, it was in March, so my account was not big at all. So I used his name to kind of leverage his name and his attention, and then to give someone something valuable. So borrowing attention, borrowing authority, because he's already known in the field, is a method that works very, very well to get some attention. So to come to the last part of my secret sauce part, the extra spice, is to know your enemy and to throw stones. Because you have to understand one thing, psychology-wise, nothing unites us more than a common enemy. And if you're on social media, if you don't have a strong message, if you don't have an enemy, you don't have a strong message. And don't get me wrong, it's not about being like in a political camp and being like, oh, you guys suck and we're the best party. You don't have to be like this. It's just about, if you have some kind of message, sit down and think about, what is this message countering? For example, if you're vegan, we all know, you're against people eating meat. But it's very important to talk about this opposite point so you can unite people on your side. And this will actually lead to, from my experience, if you take like a stronger stance on something, you will piss people off. But you don't want them to be pissed off, but some people have to be pissed off, so others will be like, they will come closer to you. You will always repel some people, but while you repel them, your core audience will like take a step closer to you. So even in AI, I'd sometimes maybe say something like, you have all the AI haters on Twitter, especially the copywriters that are like, oh, we don't need AI, and we will only produce shit content. So I would sometimes use them as like an enemy, like to get a stronger message for myself. Or if you're in crypto, you can talk about how the banks suck, right? They will also, like, it's very important to be very intentional about your kind of stance on something, and also to be vocal about it. Because if you're in the middle for everything, honestly, on social media, it won't work. That's the thing about social media. You have to have a strong message. And I know some people don't like if someone's going to get pissed off. And I'm not telling you have to be controversial by any means. But honestly, if you have a message you really believe in and that you talk about, you will piss some people off, because there's always someone on the other side. And the internet is so huge, you will get some shit from some people. But honestly, just see it as a signal of success. If you get some message of people like telling me, "Oh, you're stupid. No, that's super wrong. You're dumb." I'm getting these every day. Like not every day anymore, but I used to get a lot of them, and it's actually a signal you're doing something right. So don't be offensive, but have an opinion and be very, very clear about your opinion. So really sit down and think like, what are my kind of core principles? What do I stand by? What is my message? And what is on the other side? And if you have something on the other side, and I'm very sure most of you have, then think about how can I throw some stones at this? How can I tell you why this is not the way, but my way I'm talking about is the solution? So this is my last secret sauce tip. I also got a lot of messages about posting cadence. How often should you post, and what should you post? What kind of content? And there's no real science to this. So, for example, on my personal account, I'm only posting single tweets, and it works. It works way slower on the ode.eth account on my personal. But what I tell most people, what is kind of a good, a good way to do it is like the classic. You do 2 to 3 threads a week. And when I say 2 to 3, you use one that's more growth orientated. It's more like it has a viral idea. So it creates traffic. It's like a funnel, right? Top of funnel creates traffic. Viral threads won't get you paid most of the time. They will create traffic. They will get you newsletter subscribers. Then you should do something like one thread that's more based around authority. This could be more like in-depth knowledge, some results you're getting, or it could also be about what I've just told you about, like using someone else's authority to teach someone. A good alternative right now is to do long-form tweets that also like knowledge-based. And if you do long-form tweets, it's really good to include some kind of story in it, your own story, because people read those more as a story arc. So that's just a tip from my side. If you do long-form tweets, and if you can include some of your learnings, your mistakes, your backstory, your thoughts on something, that's really helpful. So 2 to 3 threads a week. And then I would say like 2 to 3 tweets. You can do a little less. And another great framework for tweets is to think about it. If you do 3 tweets, do one story, do something. Here's how I've done X. 5 years ago, I was a broke music producer, but then I did the other thing, and here's my result. So always think about a story framework from I was there, now I'm here, like an epiphany bridge. This is really good. One story. Then do one how-to. How-to is more of actionable advice. Here's 5 writing tips for graphic novel writers. I don't know. Just coming up with something. So simple framework, simple actionable tips. One tweet is what I call personality. I'm pretty heavy on the personality tweets, so I sometimes share like my opinion on something. I share about food. I share about whatever is on my mind, actually. And this is about like really telling someone who you are, because they are like, most likely they're like thousands of copies of yourself talking about one topic. But what really makes you different is like your personal story, your sense of humor, your opinions on stuff. So really share those as well, because they really give you the flavor why someone's following you. And I've shared so much about more like niche or like topics that some people also don't agree with. I share a lot about like psychedelics. I share a lot about like opinionated stuff, and that will repel some people again. But I get so many DMs of people referencing the like platitudes or personal stuff that I share. Or like I always drink beer with ice cubes, and people like started to do it as well. They sent me pictures. So like these things really matter. They can seem mundane, but if you're only sharing like actual knowledge, again, like you're only giving them some parts of what's possible. For me, it's always about give them value, show them you can get results, and just have some fun. Share some shit posting, share some personal stuff that comes to your mind, because then it will also be so much easier for you to create content, because then it's just an extension of yourself. Then last 30 minutes of engagement. This is the annoying part. I can't say it differently. The engagement part is kind of annoying, because it's kind of a chore. It is, for me at least. So I would just go through comments. I will engage with other people. I will do those things that I shared with you. I would look for someone who shared something. I will apply it, send them a DM, post some results. I told you before I wouldn't overdo that I commenting under big accounts. I do think it's helpful to comment under accounts that are maybe 3 to 5 times bigger than yourself. So let's say you have 100 followers. Look for the account that have 500 or 1,000 or maybe 3,000 and comment under those posts. Don't go for the crazy big accounts because they won't care anyway, most likely. You have to be super, super clever or have a great timing on your comment. So it's more like the lottery. So I think engaging with accounts that are like a bit above you. If you have 0 followers, you can also engage with some like 100 follower accounts. You can create Twitter lists, which is helpful. So you can add people to different lists. So what I did in the beginning, I would do a list for accounts up to 1,000 followers, accounts to up to 5,000, accounts up to 10,000. If I have some time, I will just engage with them. But be genuine. Honestly, be a real person. Don't engage to engage if you don't care about something. If you drop a comment, think about it. Try to give some value in the comment as well. But again, have some fun. Like having fun is so underrated online on Twitter. So I've got 2 more slides, and then it's going to go into the Q&A. But just to give you some information on again, stuff that people ask me a lot, is the first thing is tools that I like, that I built my business on. And I'm going to start they are all non-AI. It's kind of the backbone of the creator business. So the first of all, the question I got a lot is like, how do I schedule my tweets? How do I write them? Where do I schedule them? And a tool that I really like is Hype Fury. It's great for scheduling, great for data analysis. They also have pretty cool features where you can compare different conversion rates. And I will send you an email after this call that includes links. If you want to buy it, if you want to try it, it would be cool if you can use my link, but you absolutely don't have to. Like, I will just share them anyway, so you don't have to write this down now. I will send an email, and they will have links in there where you can sign up if you like to. So Hype Fury, great for Twitter. I also like Typefully. So I don't have a Typefully link, but it's also a great one. Then the second one is Twimix. It's a Chrome plugin. And the only thing it does, you can go to a profile of a creator and it will just show you it's like a Twitter toolbar extension. And it will just show you the most successful tweets and threads of this person. And this is actually really helpful to see what worked for this person and what didn't. And just to look if you see a pattern. So that's also something I'm using to see what's hot. I use Grammarly because maybe you can hear my German potato accent, I guess. So I'm not a native speaker. And I do use Grammarly, and for me, it's a great help for writing. So this is like also a plugin that will help you with grammar and will also give you suggestions. Sometimes the suggestions are not perfect, but for me, especially for spelling mistakes, it's great. It's quite pricey though. I think it was like $150 per year or something, or 200. But for myself, I write a lot, so I actually use it a lot. So it's totally worth it to not embarrass myself with my bad spelling. The last one is Beehive, and I use Beehive as my email service provider. So I send all my emails in Beehive. They actually have quite some cool features, which I like a lot. They have the polls, and having polls so people can. I always give them an option to vote on a topic, for example, to tell me, hey, I like this newsletter. That's great in Beehive. It's great to integrate graphical stuff like tweets, to integrate TikToks, links, stuff like this. Very, very easy to use. It's free until you get 2,500 subscribers, which is already, if you have 2,500 subscribers, you can probably already make some money. And then it's like $99 a month. So I think it's a great product. They're also very responsive. But to be 100% transparent with you, I also use ConvertKit. Don't tell the Beehive guys. ConvertKit is another email provider, and it's actually better for automation stuff. So if someone buys something, I forgot to put it on here, and my payment, my shop is hosted in Thrivecart. And if someone buys, I can just trigger an email sequence. So someone buys, they will get an email sequence of me, hey, here's the link. One day after this, hey, did you have any problems, blah, blah, blah. This is all done in ConvertKit, but the rest is done in Beehive. Let me just get one other sip of water here. Some end notes now. The end of my rant, and then it's finally, it's finally open. First of all, honestly, and that's I'm 100% honest here. You don't need a lot of followers to make money. There are so many accounts that make a lot of money because they just solve a good problem and they are specific in their niche. They are a niche expert and they can get results. You don't even have to have a lot of experience, honestly. If you can get some clients and show results, you will get paid. And I think most people have this crazy goal of, oh, I need 10,000 followers to make money. And so it's not worth it to do it, to actually start creating, because like the goal is so far away. And that's such a big mistake. Like, you don't need a lot of followers. And I can't tell this often enough. You can make a lot of money with hundreds of followers, or maybe just 100, maybe just 50, if you find clients already. So take this from me. I'm serious about this message. The next thing is consistency is the most important part. If you try to create a habit of creating. And that's why AI is so amazing, because AI really helps us to kind of get over the initial hump of creating. Because before we had AI, if you sit down and you don't have an idea, you don't have an idea. Like, you can't do anything about it. And you just stare at a page and nothing happens. And with AI, you have this amazing tool that can basically just give you ideas. So all you have to do is to build a schedule around creating. And honestly, the more you can schedule it in upfront, be like, hey, those are my days of creating. For me, it's still every day, but some people, they create once a week. So being very intentional how to reach consistency is very important. And this is another of my end notes here. Then the last two, play long-term games. Don't start to produce content to make 100,000 next month, right? And I can tell you from my experience, creating content was the single biggest impact on my life in the last years, career-wise. And even without the AI solopreneur success, it would still be the same thing, because the amount of people you will meet, the connections you will make, the opportunity that will just come to you. It's such a cliche thing to say, but it's true. It makes the craziest difference. And if you run a business, you will get more leads. You will be seen as a different kind of on a different level in your field. Even if you do something that's not very like close to social media, even better. Because it's like a 24-hour CV you're putting out there. You're showing, hey, this is our work. This is what we do. This is why we're good. Here, see, another result, another result, another result, another result. And sometimes it takes a long time until someone will become a buyer, but they will eventually become a buyer. And if they think about a problem, let's say you talk about, I don't know, commercial real estate in some area, and they never thought about it, but like 1 year later, they're actually interested, and they're like, oh, this guy talked about it. Oh, they are into email marketing. And there's this one guy who's doing like welcome sequences, and now they need a welcome sequence. Who do they think of? They think about of the guy that they saw. Even if the work is maybe not the greatest, that's the crazy thing about it, because it's just like your name is attached to the thing you talk about. It will bring you opportunity. So don't underestimate it. It's actually crazy what content can do for you and your business. So I really want to make this message loud and clear. It's so worth it. Never ever question that. Just like from my personal experience. And then the last point, have fun. Honestly, if you don't have fun doing it, it's just such a waste of time. So being a little bit stupid, sharing some jokes, being in contact with other creators just for fun as well. I'm on so many calls with other people who do interesting shit, and it doesn't have like an ROI for me at this certain point, but I'm just interested, and it's just fun for me. It's fun for me to learn from someone about something that they're building. So like my recommendation is reach out to people, connect with them, and don't connect with them just to sell them something or to be, I want to learn your secret tips to build my empire. But it's more about, hey, I'm actually just super interested in what you're doing, and people love to talk about this stuff. So build a genuine network around you. Social media is called social for a reason, and really like leveraging the social part of it, the networking without the being salesy or sleazy, but the networking because you're curious, because you want to learn, and because you want to become better at something, get better. That's so inspiring to me to be in this scene. because each day I'm talking to people that inspire me, and I talk to you guys, which is also super inspiring. I had so many inspiring conversations already with customers of this course, and they also brought me opportunity. I brought opportunities to some of them. You know, it's like if you have fun while you're doing it, you will get better results, and if you get better results, you'll make more money, and your business will be better. It's like kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. And this is the end of my little rant or my long rant. I just kind of threw it all in there. I was like, okay, how can I give you guys as much value as possible? So if you can just drop a 1 to 10 in the chat so I can see if everyone liked it or not. Just give 1 to 10 if you like the presentation, please. You can be honest. 8, 10, 10, 10. Okay, that looks good. 11, I like that. I like the 11. All right, guys. I'm super happy that you liked it. Bravocado for you. You know this from the course if you did the course already. I love the Bravocado. And now it's time for Q&A. And the way we're going to do it is that you can drop your question inside the chat, and my co-host will help me to sort the questions, and I will call you out to either jump on stage and ask the question again, give some context, but you also don't have to. You can also just ask him and write in the chat you don't want to be on. All right, so just ask the question inside the chat. I will just start. Honestly, I will just start to answer some of them. First question was how I actually created the slides, just to be very fast. I used Canva, and Canva is pretty great for that. You can use animations inside of this. So this is not AI, but this is a great tool to create like courses, like slides for it, and they look amazing. Okay, another important question: is it worth buying GPT-4? My answer is 100%. Honestly, like just alone content, if you use it for content, just the kind of difference in terms of quality of output is kind of mind-blowing. Like it's so much better. So it's you spend $20 a month, and you really have to think about what kind of shit you spend $20 on per month. I made this tweet today, saying like paying $20 for ChatGPT a month is like you getting a bicycle, a private jet for the price of a bicycle. And that's really it. Like, it's kind of a ridiculous price. I think it would be better for people if it would be $1,000 a month, because then they would understand the value they're getting. So short answer for this is absolutely, it's 100% worth it. Get it for sure. All right, so let me just check some of the questions. Okay. David Streit is asking, maybe just unmute him.
Hey there.
All right. So maybe you can ask the question again. I like the question about the account.
I mean, I asked two questions. One is if you got access back to your PayPal account, and the other one is about whether you why did you choose to start a second account as a brand like AI Solopreneur instead of continuing posting with your private account as a real person?
That's actually a really good question, and I got it many times already. To answer the first question, yes, my PayPal is unlocked. I got it back, but I actually had to I had some help of again some followers helped me. They had a connection to the head of compliance of PayPal. That's a true story, and I think that helped me. So again, power of leverage, power of an audience. So for your question, why I've done a new account? Actually, I wasn't sure that I wanted to have an account that's only on one topic, but I also knew that focusing on one topic is like the best way to grow. so I had my personal account, and the personal account was more about like some business stuff, some crypto stuff, whatever. And I think if you really want to grow an account, it's a lot easier if you really focus on one topic and be very specific about it. I also teach it in a course. So I was like, okay, let me try this AI solopreneur thing. And honestly, it was just like a kind of a trial and error thing because I always wanted to grow a niche account. And on the other hand, if you grow a brand, there's also like this is like long term. There's also a way you could potentially sell it, but I kind of threw this out of the window because I love it so much to do this brand, and I also kind of became the person behind the brand. So in the beginning, I wasn't sure if I wanted to become like a public AI person. That's the honest answer. But what I'm seeing now, which also I think is maybe interesting for people that run companies, for example, I think it's kind of interesting to run both. And let's say you have a company for something, you sell, I don't know, soaps or whatever, and you have the company account that kind of talks about the company, but you also have like a founder account that gives insight about the business and maybe is a little bit more like has even interaction with the other account. So I think I actually sold more courses because I had my private account that also shared the behind the scenes. And now I have this account that's only AI, but I know I will evolve. So I'm not only interested in AI forever. I will always do this account and have this business, but it also gave me more freedom in terms of creation. And I think the most important part really is you have to play a game you can play for a long time. And I felt like if I would have become the AI guy and grew my personal account to 100K only talking about AI, if then AI wasn't my number one thing anymore, like the account is kind of dead. And it wouldn't be as much fun for myself. So that's why I chose to grow a niche account, which is way easier to grow, but still have my personal account as my like personality outlet. And I think like they work well together in tandem. But if you only have time for one account, I would always advise you to do a personal brand account if you can. Like that's a clear recommendation from my side.
Thanks, man. That was really insightful. Thanks.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. All right, let's get some new questions. So maybe like more of an AI question. Richmond Wong, maybe you could unmute yourself.
Yeah, so I just had a question about other AI models or products that you're using.
Yeah.
Recommend alongside ChatGPT. So Claude AI is good. Any other generative AI that you recommend?
Yeah, so I use those two the most by far. I still use way more ChatGPT than I use Claude, but I think Claude actually, I also want to add like a bonus module to the course maybe, because I think the content outputs of Claude are also amazing. I also use Perplexity more and more. I like it a lot. I actually dropped a newsletter today. It kind of came out, I think, like 30 minutes before this course started. And it's like a basic introduction into Perplexity. It's great for research and kind of diving into that. I'm looking at some more models that are more even like based on like scientific backgrounds and scientific sightings and stuff like that, because it's still like very you don't want to do any like real in-depth scientific research with any of those LLMs because they can hallucinate quite hard. And yeah, so Perplexity is a great one to check out. So I honestly use those three the most. For image generation, I use Midjourney, also pretty basic, but I honestly think like really understanding the basics and learning how to use them is like the winning strategy. It's not about how to use like 100 different things. It's more about, hey, how can I use the stuff I already use better? That's my opinion on that. So get Perplexity. It's amazing.
Okay, thanks so much.
Ola,
right,
can you please come back from the screen sharing so that we can see you?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, guys. All right, cool. Let's get today's issue was a nice read. I'm very happy about that. Someone talks AI PRM is good. They didn't pay me with an ad, so I don't like them. Don't use them. They never paid me. Cool. Okay, let me get
we have
question
someone
here.
raising the hand, Marcello and
Okay.
Ivanshu.
All right, so Marcelo, I hope I didn't butcher the name.
It's fine. Hi. Can you hear
How do you
me?
pronounce it? Tell me.
It's Marcello.
Marcello. Okay.
Marcello.
Marcello.
Yeah. Yeah. So my question is this: I have a system basically for my clients and for myself to create content on Facebook that works on basically Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. The question is, how do I plug that into ChatGPT? Maybe do you think I could use like I know you don't understand, like you don't know my system, of course, so it's kind of hard
Yeah.
to answer that. But like, what would you do if you had to plug my system into the automation? Because my system is not automated. Like you have to do manually, right? But I would love to see, like, there's a lot that you cover in the program that helped me a lot with that. But I'm trying some prompts, including my system, and some of them are good. Some of them are like complete like garbage. Like the opposite. Like
Yeah.
the range is very wide. It's not just kind of, no, it's like really bad or really good. So yeah, what would you do to fix that? How would you go about creating content using a specific system?
I'd have to understand the kind of system you're using.
Yeah.
That's
So
really
basically
hard.
the
Like
system
really
that I
hard to
have,
answer. Like, yeah, maybe you could answer like maybe in 2 or 3 sentences, so I can try to
yeah.
understand it.
So basically the system is we do market research. From the market research, we get like a little bit like what you do with ChatGPT, but we do it with real people. We have conversations with real people. So you have the fears, the pains, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And basically the system is to create especially titles and hooks. So like subtitles, basically. The titles use like, for example, how a goal XYZ in 3 months, for example. How I made this much money in 3 months, or something like that. To
Yeah.
create the title. So basically, when you plug in all the information from the interviews, from the market research, you get all these pain, desires, yada yada, and I created an Excel file where I have all these in a table. And sometimes when I use them, copy and paste them into the prompt that I created, it works, and sometimes it doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's about building like a good integration in terms of a data set, data bank. Honestly, the best answer I can give you is I really have to have a look at it. I don't want to give you some like half-assed answer here. So just feel free to just send me a DM, maybe record a little video, and I'll try to have a look. I think from what I get from your side, it shouldn't be too hard to kind of build an automation setup. It's just about finding a setup that works like at least 95% of the time, right? Because what I got from you is like the problem is not kind of consistent in the output. But I'm happy to have a look at it. If it's interesting, I can also share about it, maybe the new setup, because I think some people have their systems. So, but if you have like a kind of a custom system, you have to have a deeper look in terms of the technical implementation.
Right.
So just shoot me a DM.
Right.
I'm sorry to give you this
email.
answer, but this is the honest answer. All right.
Yeah, I send you an email because
cool.
I tried to DM you on Twitter and I couldn't.
Okay. Yeah, just send me an email. It's fine.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Cool. Okay, so Ryan Robinson asked something. Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, I can. Hello.
Yes. Hi, Ryan. Maybe you can ask the question again, loud.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just curious as to preferring what social media platform. I recognize there's Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Obviously you built Twitter, following there. How do you select the proper social media platform to particularly build that kind of community that you've built?
Like my honest answer is I think Instagram is shit for growth. It's very hard. It's the organic reach is like non-existent, really. You have to be really good at creating reels. And if you're really good at creating reels, I think you should do TikTok instead. It's really about like what's your skill set. But I'm always trying to find opportunities where it's easier to grow. You don't have this you don't have to fight against a million other people trying to do the same thing. So from my experience, Twitter is still really good to grow, and I can think that you can get kind of consistent results. But honestly, the true like alpha in my point of view is like the email list is the most important thing. So anything you can do to grow your email list, because in the end, like people will buy from you most likely on your list. And I think most of us, we create content because we have something to sell. And that's a good thing, right? Because we want to help people, so they pay us. So it's like a good value exchange we have there. So like having that in mind, I think it's about finding ways to grow your email list. And Twitter and LinkedIn are two great ways, in my opinion, to do that. If you don't want to do video, if you're very good at video, you can also try stuff like TikToks. But I'm not, like, I want to go into TikTok, and I actually done some TikTok stuff before. I grew an account to like a decent size before. But I think right now, for me, what feels the easiest to grow is honestly LinkedIn. People that kind of hate it, but you can grow easier on LinkedIn, especially if you have some kind of like in-depth knowledge of something, and it's easier. You'll get more clients on LinkedIn for sure. So
Gotcha.
and also if you do Twitter content, you can repurpose it from LinkedIn pretty easily. So you kind of create one thing and you can use it on 2 different platforms. And sometimes it will go, usually it's like this. If it doesn't go viral on Twitter, or if it doesn't perform well, let's say, it sometimes performs well on LinkedIn still, but it's not the other way around. If something performs well on LinkedIn, it usually performs well on both. If it performs well on Twitter, it performs well on both. But it's kind of a second chance you get for your content. If it doesn't perform on Twitter, just put it up on LinkedIn. Learn a little bit about the formatting. It's a little bit different, but not crazy different. And there are some tools like Taplio that can create carousels out of your Twitter threads, for example, which is kind of handy. So my favorite ones is Twitter and LinkedIn. And I think especially LinkedIn is kind of underrated for social media growth. And I think Instagram is the hardest by far. And I wouldn't do it. Like, this is my personal opinion on that.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Cool. You're welcome. Okay, so we can just there are some questions. I'm just gonna answer them right now. About like people having technical problems with text plays in the course. So if you had the course and I updated some prompts, some people asked like, what happens if I copy it again? It will. So you have to delete all your prompts. So if you want to keep them, you have to copy them into a different document and like put them in again. So it will get deleted. That's the problem. So if you want to keep your audience context, just copy it into another document and copy it back into your text base again. Then you have it in the new one. And yeah, if you still have any technical problems, you can always write an email. It will sometimes take me a day or 2 to answer them, but it's also good for me to see, so I can see how I can adjust the messaging inside the course. Usually people don't watch the videos, then they ask me questions or they don't read it. It's kind of funny. And yeah, you also, to get all the updates, you have to duplicate the Notion, because if you duplicated the Notion to your Notion, then it won't get the automatic updates. If you use the web version, it will always get the updates. But if I'll drop a new module, you have to duplicate it again. That's unfortunately how Notion works. I would love it to be different, but you have to always get a new version. Okay, let me look at some more questions. Okay, is it Shivanshu? Can you unmute yourself? How do you pronounce it? It was probably butchered.
Hi, Ole.
Hi.
I have a few questions. So how did you get the initial reviews for your course? Like before you actually make it public for everybody, you will need some kind of validation from customers and from like blue tick mark people, especially, right? So that they can share it or they can help you grow as well. So how did you convince them, or how did you like go with the process for that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think the best way to do it, and I haven't done it like this because I was kind of rushed in a way because I wanted to get the course out as fast as possible. If you have some more time, you can like run a beta cohort. So it's kind of low key. You don't officially launch it, so you just get some people in that you know. Obviously, but to be honest with you, it was way easier for me because I had the connections to those people, right? I knew them, so I could ask them for a testimonial. But you'd be surprised. Like most people, they just don't ask. And if you ask someone like, hey, I'm building this, I would love to give you a review. It's always great to give them kind of as much as possible so they don't have to think for themselves. So for example, I use Senja. It's like a platform where you can set up testimonials. And sometimes I would send them like a example testimonial, what they could write about. So they wouldn't use this one, but the more you give them in terms of ideas, how they can frame it, the easier. If you can tell them, hey, for example, it would be great to talk about how this helped you solve your problem. So maybe it's a content course, and if you can talk about, hey, before I did this course, I could never post, I never had an idea, but it actually helped me with this process, or I never someone actually clicked on my tweets and never got engagement, but now I look at this post, it got much. So really tell them what to think about, because people, they take some time out of their day. So be mindful about their time and their attention. And the more you can do that, the better. So if they feel like, hey, you actually put some thought into the reach out, they would appreciate it, and they will be more likely to give you a testimonial. Also, another way, a great way to do it, give a lot of testimonials. If you already gave them a testimonial, they're much more likely to give you one as well. So that's why I've done, like, I've known some of these guys for some time. But I also asked some of them for the first time. I just asked them, hey, I have this course. Would be amazing to get a testimonial. And most of them said yes. I think actually almost everyone said yes. So people really underestimate like a genuine reaching out to people. So
Did
maybe
they-
don't, yeah,
So
go for it.
did they bought about the course first and then gave you the testimonial, or you showed them, or you shared with them free of cost and then they gave you the testimonial?
I think with most I shared it for free. And I think that's mostly is the way to go. You can also run a beta cohort. So let's say your course should be $300. Then you do it for like 150 or maybe 100 and tell people, hey, you're going to get it super cheap or you're going to get it for free. All I want from you is the testimonial and feedback. And the actual feedback is even more important. Maybe it's as important, because if you ask them for like feedback on your course and you can make it better for the real launch, that's also a huge help. So like running a small beta, I'd say at least 5 to 10 people. And best case, you can also get them in some kind of call to give you feedback, or you prepare a good type form. That's actually good because it will actually help you to improve your product. And that should always be the most important thing. The most important thing for you. How can I make my product as good as possible? Because if your product is good, everything else can be bad, but it can be other like
Other way around.
Other way around. That's what I was using. Yeah, because if you have a shit product, you can have good marketing and you can sell some copies, but like it will just go downhill from there. So spending enough time with a beta cohort, feedbacking your course, getting testimonials, and honestly, if you don't have enough testimonials, get some friends as well. Like, just get some, because humans are like such social creatures. We just love the social proof. Don't underestimate social proof testimonials. And once you've collected some, it's going to get much easier because people will see, hey, they're testimonials. And then see the result of the course is also easier. So this in the beginning, try to get some best case from like beta testers.
Okay. One more question, like you mostly post on AI tools, right? So what kind of client requests like do you get if you have any clients, if you are working with some clients, right?
What do you mean client requests? In what way?
Matlab, there will be not clients like us, but the clients like companies. Like if the company is approaching you, okay, can you help me with this content, or like what kind of request do they have?
Companies coming to me in terms of the course or in terms of like sponsorships?
In terms of like knowing about AI tools, like if there is a company.
Okay.
Yeah,
You mean like bigger companies that ask me, hey, what kind of tools should we get?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm getting outreach for sure, and I'm actually today I had a call. It's still like, this is like secret. This is the real secret sauce. So I'm in the process of actually setting up most likely this is going to be more like a service-based business, because there's a lot of reach out. But the problem, like I think if you want to provide services, the problem I'm seeing that most people like they're like, oh, I'm an AI automation agency, but you have to have like a very specific customer if you want to get into an AI agency. So you should rather think about like, how can I serve like a very niche problem of a niche that I know with AI, and rather than just being like a basic service provider. So this is why I'm also answering most of those people like, hey, I'm not a specialized person for your field yet, and I don't know anyone. So I'd rather collect those and see like what is the commonality, right? Like, is there any kind of customer that's coming over again asking for solutions, and then build a solution? That's kind of the process I'm in right now. Also thinking about kind of building education for businesses rather than just kind of B2C, what this is. I would even say like customers of this course is also like mainly like business based. So it's kind of an in-between product even. But yeah, mainly like collecting feedback right now and trying to find out where the demand is.
Okay. And another question is like,
sorry, I think maybe I need to give some other people also, because they also already asked two.
I
so
have
maybe
two more questions if you get any time afterwards, so please.
Yeah, just send me. You can also send them to me in a DM. That's no problem. Just write me on Twitter. But yeah, thanks for asking those. All right, guys. If you have any more, just also still drop them in the chat. It's still open. My co-host will help me.
Maybe you can answer Stevie Miller's question, because he asked it already. I posted in a chat again.
Yeah. In which chat? Okay.
Maybe you can read it loud so that
Yeah.
the recording.
So okay, it's asking about how I integrated the system of text-based into Beehive and into writing. How I get the AI generated text into Beehive. Okay, how Beehive works is generating your distributed emails. All right, so Beehive is just the posting tool. I have different processes. Sometimes I would just work in a Google Doc and I use ChatGPT, and that's also a really good plugin. You can use a Chrome plugin that gives you ChatGPT in all your browser windows. I'm going to put this into the email as well. I need to find out the name. I can't check it right now because I don't have it in this browser. And yeah, Beehive is not the platform to collect payments. It's also asking if I use Beehive to collect payments, and how much is the Beehive cost in relative to the other monthly cost for AI Solopreneur. Beehive is $99 per month, so it's not a crazy cost right now. It's like one of the, I actually have to pay for a lot of tools right now and subscriptions, like for payment providers. You also pay a lot of fees every month for PayPal and Stripe and stuff like that. Yeah, so Beehive, I mainly just put in the text, honestly, like, and then I edit some of the stuff, but I write most of it either in Google Docs. Yeah, mostly in Google Docs, sometimes in Notion. So I'd have, I wouldn't be honest to say like I do everything the same all the time. It also depends where I'm working from. And yeah, Beehive is like mainly just kind of set up the email. So I have like the basic text done, put it into Beehive, and then I do like the editing inside Beehive. They also have some generative AI, by the way, but I never use it. All right, that's part of the question. What equipment and software did you use to produce your videos and Loom? I have a SM7B, I think it's called. From Shure. It's a really nice mic. I like it a lot. A lot of podcasters use it. And I actually used my MacBook or just an iPhone 14, and I use Cameo. So Cameo is the software I think you can also do it now integrated in a Mac, but you just plug your iPhone in and you can use it as a camera. So the video is definitely better. But if I record a Loom video, so for video, I use Loom, Cameo as my camera, a Shure 7B, SM7B, I think. And like I have like a little interface for audio, so you have to have an interface. But I really think like having good and crisp audio is so important. So it's really worth the investment if you want to do video stuff. All right. Let me get one more question. My voice is kind of getting sore a little bit because I shouted too much. All right. Let me see if we can get one last here. Okay, if you have any questions, just drop them in the chat. It's the last chance right now. If not, I will choose one of the questions that are already here. And by the way, you asked about like an in-depth review of how I integrated everything in my kind of workflow. I'm definitely open to share like a more in-depth workflow in one of my newsletters. I might be working on a premium newsletter that might include stuff like this. So keep your eyes out for that. It's going to be soon. Okay, that's a cool question. Okay, Shivanshu, you're asking good questions. So he's asking, what is your newsletter strategy? Should we post only tutorials like you shared on Midjourney logo? If your final product was Notion book, why did you use ThriveGuide instead of Gumroad? Okay, I think it's kind of two questions. I'm going to ask the first one. So what is my newsletter strategy? I think for newsletters, like there is no like one strategy. One thing that works pretty well is like what I do as well. It's like kind of most people they either do like a lot of different like dopamine hit drops, so they do all news and it's like bam, 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 this, or it's more like a deep dive edition. And I really think like writing deep dives, what I do is like one topic, one specific problem per newsletter, and solving this problem in the newsletter. And it's also easier to kind of engineer or like reverse engineer how to write a good edition, because you just sit down like, hey, what is a problem I would like solved? Like, what is something that was on my mind, something that I solved for myself, or what's something that's just important for someone running a business, for example, and just going one problem at a time. That's really helpful to me to write. So just asking basically one big question per email, and then also adding some personal touch. So if you write like a newsletter, it's always, again, a great help to be personal AF. So if you can kind of combine the story of your life to this problem, or you can give example out of your business, that's amazing. So try to solve one big problem. For me, works best. But honestly, just go out there, get inspired. There's so many great newsletters out there. I personally really enjoy the stuff that's more in depth. That's what I keep coming back to. And I also think it's the stuff that's more in depth is better to sell products. For example, I'm following one newsletter that's amazing. It's called Growth in Reverse, and it's written by Chanel. And she basically like reverse engineers growth of newsletters, and it's super, super in depth. And she needs like basically the whole week to write one edition, but it's so in depth, and I can't get the information anywhere else. And I'm like, what happens in my head is like, oh my God, this person is so knowledgeable. If I've ever had any like problems or questions about this stuff, I will go to her, because she spends all this time. So if you're one of these email guys, like, oh, here's 1,000 things, I don't know. I think there's like kind of shallow value, and deeper value is what gets you paid. So that's like my personal recommendation here. Yeah, Growth and Reverse. Thanks, Kai, for posting. By the way, also follow Kyle Barmer, also amazing creator on Twitter. Thanks for helping me out. We might host something cool again together next time. So if you don't follow him now. Kyle, drop your Twitter in the chat. Come on, do some plugging. Here's her Twitter. Okay, I'm going to post his Twitter. Oh, Katja. Yeah, here it is. Okay, perfect. All right, everyone. I think my voice is starting to get a little wonky here. Thank you all so much for being here. I really enjoyed it. I hope that was helpful to you. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out. But also be aware, my inbox is a fucking mess. It's always overloaded. But I'm trying to get back to everyone, especially to everyone who bought this course. And I'm always trying to make this better over time. So if you have any feedback for the product, it's super helpful to me, honestly. Even if you're like, oh, this sucked, this really was a problem for me, this helps me to create a better product for you. And in the end, that's what's most important to me. So again, thank you all. Enjoy your day. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the next session. Thank you all.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.